The war had lasted so long that most humans had forgotten why it began. Entire fleets had been swallowed in the darkness between stars, and colonies once vibrant with life had become empty husks. Humanity's bitterest enemy was the Zarathi Dominion, an empire of insectoid aliens who fought with ruthless precision and unquestionable loyalty to their ruler, their queen. Her name was whispered with fear, Queen Zyrashka the Eternal, a being said to have lived for centuries, directing her swarms with cold brilliance. Entire star systems burned at her command. But wars, like all things, wither. Humanity's final strike had not destroyed her fleets, but it had scattered them. The queen vanished in the chaos, and without her guidance, the once indomitable Zarathi broke apart into fractured remnants. For months after, rumors spread. Some said she was dead. Others said she hid in the void, plotting her return. Most didn't care. War had drained every world of its hunger for vengeance. One man cared even less than most. Daniel Harrow, a former medic, lived on a quiet agricultural outpost far from the war front. He had seen enough battles to know victory rarely belonged to soldiers. It belonged to survivors. His days were filled with tending crops, repairing irrigation pumps, and helping his neighbors when they came to him with burns or broken bones. The war was behind him, or so he thought. Middle, the queen in the snow. It was during one of the harshest winters the outpost had ever endured that Daniel's life changed again. Snow blanketed the hills, the kind that muffled sound and swallowed roads. Daniel trudged through it on the outskirts of the settlement, searching for lost livestock. That's when he found her. At first, he thought she was a mirage. A towering insectoid figure, cloaked in tattered armor, half buried in the snowdrift. Her exoskeleton, usually a glistening obsidian in the stories, was dulled and cracked. A pair of multifaceted eyes, once said to glow like emerald fire, flickered weakly. Her mandibles clicked faintly as she tried to move. He recognized her instantly. Not just a Zarathi, but the Zarathi. The queen. Daniel froze, every instinct screaming at him to draw his sidearm and end her. This was the monster who had commanded fleets that slaughtered millions. This was the architect of atrocities, the nightmare mothers whispered to their children to keep them from wandering off at night. But she didn't attack. She didn't hiss or raise a claw. Instead, she whispered through trembling clicks and halting words, her voice strangely broken. Mercy. Daniel stared. The queen of the Zarathi, a creature who had ruled with an iron claw, was begging him, a simple farmer, for mercy. Her armor was ruined. Her limbs shivered violently from the cold. Whatever pride or power she had wielded had been stripped away by hunger, exhaustion, and defeat. Daniel sighed heavily. He could have left her there. He should have. But his medic's instincts warred with his memories of war. He thought of the countless wounded soldiers he had treated, Zarathi and human alike, because to him, a body in pain was a body in need. And though his conscience screamed at him for being a fool, he stooped, lifted her surprisingly light frame, and carried her home. The soup. Inside his cabin, warmth radiated from a flickering fire. Daniel lowered the queen gently onto a blanket and studied her. She was enormous compared to him, but weakened, her exoskeleton scarred, her limbs trembling. She tried to speak, but only rasped air. Not words, Daniel said quietly. You need strength first. He moved to a small stove, filled a pot with water, and added the last of his root vegetables, spices, and dried meat. The smell of simmering broth soon filled the cabin. The queen's eyes followed every motion. When he brought her a bowl of steaming soup, her mandibles hesitated, clicking uncertainly. It's food, Daniel said, sitting across from her. Not poison. She tilted her head, watching him take a spoonful himself before mimicking clumsily. The first taste seemed to stun her. Her mandibles clicked rapidly, and for a moment Daniel thought she might reject it. But then she leaned forward eagerly, drinking the broth as though it was ambrosia. Her shoulders trembled. Not with weakness this time, but something else. A sound escaped her, a strange, low hum. It took Daniel a moment to realize she was crying. The alien queen who had commanded armies, who had never bowed to anyone, sat in his cabin drinking soup and weeping silently. He didn't speak. He simply refilled her bowl. Conversations in the dark. Over the next days, she regained strength. Daniel kept his shotgun close, never forgetting who she was. But as her wounds healed, her behavior unsettled him. She did not demand. She did not threaten. She asked. "Why help me?" she rasped one evening, her words still halting in his language. Daniel stirred the fire. "Because you needed help." Her eyes narrowed. "Ice killed your kind." "I know," he said simply. "Then why soup? Why warmth? Why not knife in throat?" Daniel looked into the flames, jaw tight. "Because I'm tired of killing." She studied him for a long time before lowering her head. Strange human. Another evening, she spoke of her people, not as a ruler boasting of power, but as a mother mourning children. "They scatter now. Hive broken. Without me, they'll fight each other. Starve." Her mandibles twitched. "I was their center. Now only fragments." Daniel almost felt pity. Almost. But he remembered the burning colonies, the hollow-eyed refugees. "You chose that war," he said sharply. Her gaze didn't waver. "No. War, chosen long before me. Hatred taught. Inherited." She tapped her chest. "But blood spilled. Mine to carry." For the first time, Daniel saw not a queen, but a weary creature crushed beneath the weight of centuries. Visitors. Word eventually spread that Daniel had taken in a stranger. Neighbors grew suspicious. When whispers reached the ears of local militia, they came to his cabin armed. The queen was hidden, cloaked in blankets in the corner. "Daniel," the militia leader barked, "we hear you're harboring an alien." Daniel's face was calm, though his pulse raced. "Just a wounded traveler. You know me, I patch people up. That's all." The men weren't convinced. They searched the cabin but found nothing. The queen had concealed herself in the shadows with remarkable stillness. When they left, she turned to him, her voice low. "Why risk life? They kill you for helping me." Daniel shrugged tiredly. "Because you're alive. And alive things deserve a chance." Her mandibles clicked softly. "You strange, but good strange." Revelations. As winter thawed, the queen's strength returned fully. She stood taller, her presence filling the cabin with quiet power. Yet she never attempted harm. One evening, she approached Daniel as he worked on repairing tools. "You gave mercy," she said, "but more than mercy. Warmth. Food. Life. I do not understand." Daniel chuckled bitterly. "Humans are complicated. Some of us kill without reason. Some of us feed even our enemies." She tilted her head. "Which are you?" "I'm just a man who makes soup," he said, smirking faintly. Her mandibles clicked, and he realized she was laughing. But then her tone grew serious. "I must go. My people need me." Daniel stiffened. "If you return to them, the war will begin again." She shook her head. "No war. War ended when I fell. They need food, not battles. Shelter, not fire. They need to learn mercy, as you gave me."